Hey guys, Fruit Panda here. A few of my friends asked me to guide them on how to play short B on DE Mirage, so instead I've decided to make a video about it. This is going to be a pretty comprehensive guide and we'll talk about retaking sides, pre-round setup and some other stuff. So let's go into the map and hit it off with the grenade choice. Since you're going to want to be pretty aggressive on mid most of the time, two flashes are absolutely necessary, in most cases even more so than the smoke. They'll help you and other mid players in setting up easy frags as well as stopping potential short connector rushes and alleviating pressure off of your window teammate. Next thing you'll want to buy is a smoke. Whether it's using the smoke to cut off short outside ladder, smoking B apps, or saving it for an A retake, the smoke is still very powerful utility and shouldn't be omitted if you're able to afford it. Last thing's an incendiary. It's really powerful in mid, especially against living things. Considering that most of the spots on mid can be cleared out by a single molly, this is easily the utility of your choice over the not so useful HE nade. You'll sometimes want to go for an HE nade if you're almost certain your opponents will not be on a full buy. That's because a well-timed HE nade can actually stop an underpass to connector rush, while the common Molotov to stop the rush might be countered by a smoke extinguish. Since you're playing this position, most of the time you'll want to skip buying head armor and get only Kevlar instead. $350 in the pocket will let you afford that Molotov much easier, and it's not like you're in danger of one headshot pistol kill, because you're going to fight long range. Now that we know which grenades to buy, let's go into some more depth where and how we should use them. You can throw a really cool flash aiming at the corner of this little roof. It blinds entire middle, even the upper, and there's no setup required since you can move around on short and still aim at the same corner and the flash is going to work 100%. This nade is very effective but also intrusive, so be sure to call out to your team before you use it. This is going to be our main flashbang for aggression and mid retake. If you want to flash for your window teammate, use this flash, aiming slightly to the left and above of this antenna. It's especially good combined with this window flash. To support your connector player, this flash will help with clearing underpass, but the guy directly under window, even with the chess player's reflex, will be able to dodge it frequently. Now let's cover the basic B-side flashes. I like to improvise here depending on where my teammate is, but I'll at least show you some ideas. However, normally you should not be in this position in the first place. When there is a B-side take happening, you should take a position closer to the side, but we'll talk about that later. Finally, you can show some love to your buddies at the A side with jumping flashes like these, but watch out for this obstacle. Moving on to smoke grenades, first up is the basic stack smoke. If the T's are playing fast short pushes and your window teammate is smoked off, this comes in very handy. Make sure to call out that the ladder room is open, uncontested or whatever, so your window teammate won't get ripped to shreds. Now the connector smoke. I usually try to stay away from this one, since normally the connector player will have their own idea of playing the spot. Actually, let's pause here for a second. Why is this, in my opinion, an exceptionally difficult smoke to throw from short? The way the connector is built, with the two separate staircases, allow for many one-way smoke opportunities. Experienced connector players will know that, for example, any smoke thrown above the 5th step will obscure short vision entirely, limiting the connector to short line of sight, dismantling the crossfire in process. And let's face it, if you have a good crossfire setup, it doesn't matter if you're playing Jack the fucking Janitor or Flusha, he will still be at a huge disadvantage. Anyways, back to the subject. It's really hard to throw a precise smoke from short into connector the exact way a connector player would want at a given time, so unless asked, try to avoid it. Don't be intrusive, be complimentary instead. Last but not least is the deep short smoke. It's pretty good if you have an op, but otherwise don't bother. Smokes are in concrete walls, and if you don't have control of mid, T's are most likely going to spray right through it after they find out it's not their smoke. You can, however, use it in conjunction with this position to make it somewhat more useful, especially if you have underpass control. There's one obvious smoke, but let's not exclude it, as it's probably the most important one, the B-app smoke. A wise man once said, There's nothing better in this world than a good molly. Like I said in the introduction, the incendiary is a short player's best friend. Out of 3 most commonly faced angles, you can clear 2 without showing yourself one bit. Let's cover the chair molly first. Now, let's move on to not yet. We're going to get back to you in a sec, buddy. Mid-box is molly. It's pretty straightforward. You can also bounce it off the wall, but thrown that way it sometimes won't spread to the far left corner of the boxes. If your opponent knows this and doesn't leave cover, spam the left side and you should score a frag anyways. Don't forget about these underpass mollies either. They come in handy quite often. You can also use these spots to dunk the HEs you got from your fallen comrades or enemies. Sometimes you'll find yourself stranded on short while a delayed eco rush is happening. This is a good way to prevent a plant. Bounce it off the wall under the open window and it lands on default. Okay, time to get back to this weird spot, which I don't even know the English callout for. Why is it so special? Mostly because it gives you a very good read of how much mid control you have early on in the round. If there is a T there, but not yet at the chair, then you should already know that A, your window teammate has been pushed back, smoked, or simply lost the opening op duel, or B, there is a smoke on short, allowing T's to cross there, which means mid has been overwhelmed. In any case, this is a great indicator that you should no longer force the engagement and play mid retake, which I will cover later. So you'll need to save the incendiary anyways. Not only are you at a huge disadvantage here, since you can face as many as 3 T's on different vertical angles simultaneously, but you also won't get the much needed help from your team. From my perspective, it's a very dangerous angle and you should avoid facing it at all times, because in best case scenario, all you get is a 1v1 aim duel. That covers the first part of this video, but we still have a lot to talk about. In part 2, we will talk about basic philosophy, working with your teammates for early mid control, mid retake, or giving up mid entirely. Early mid control setup. Mid retake, passive setup, holding against rushes, retaking A, and some random tips and tricks like here Coljar just rushes window, jumps out, and it camps in the smoke, gets 1 kill, but regardless, that's super cool stuff and I have more to show of that, so thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.